Warning, this content may be disturbing to some audiences. Subscribe. If you dare. He just pulled out a $100 bill and said I'd buy that for $100, and I politely turned him down, so he pulled out another $100 and offered me $200. Hey everybody, welcome to ANECDOSED. People ask Reddit. Pizza guys of Reddit, what's the strangest thing you've seen when delivering pizzas? Number 1. I deliver for DoorDash and GrubHub, sometimes pizzas. One time, I picked up an order from each app, same exact order, from the same restaurant, both named James, to the same hotel. When I knocked on the door, 2 guys were there and asked me which was I, DoorDash or GrubHub. I told them I was both and have both orders. They started to laugh really hard. When I asked what was so funny, they told me they had a bet on which one would come first. They thought it was going to be 2 different drivers and never thought one person would be using both apps. I laughed too and asked them which one was James. They told me they are both named James. I still wonder what other funny things those 2 guys come up with. Number 2. One time a retired Pizza Hut driver, and a Papa John's driver were at an apartment at the same time. We both started walking up the stairs. After the 3rd floor I asked her, "Are you going to 308? We had a good laugh knowing we were going to the same place at the same time. The ladies at the apartment laughed pretty good when we were both standing there when they opened the door. One of the funniest moments I had while delivering. Number 3. Customer paid with a card and he had instructions to leave the pizza on a bench in a public area. Drop it off and quickly leave the area. I left but pulled on a side street where I could see the bench. I wait probably close to 5 minutes and then I see a man bust out of a dilapidated building I thought was empty. He runs up and grabs the pizza, he spins a whole 360 degrees and he is glancing in every direction as if he was afraid he was being watched. Then he hurries back to the place and when he gets to the door he sees me and his eyes get huge and wide, paranoid and fearful. He slammed the door shut. I just think he was tweaking or something wouldn't be out of the ordinary around here. Number 4. I delivered to a hotel in the middle of a local golf course. Called the number to let them know I was there and was told to come on up. Get to the room and when the guy answered, there was a large group of guys, all in golf attire, surrounding a single guy in a chair. He was bound and blindfolded. The one that answered didn't even bat an eye, just asked how much and tipped me $30 Warily I took the money and walked away, but before the door was fully closed, I heard one of the guys ask, "I wonder if he knows this is a." Before I even left the parking lot, the guy that answered the door called me to say that the bound guy was his brother and he was bound and blindfolded because it's his bachelor party and the stripper was waiting to come out. I just showed up way earlier than they thought I would. Number 5. I was delivering a pizza to this house in a pretty rough neighborhood. These 3 colos answered the door and when the one guy stepped back to get the money I noticed huge amounts of money, and so much meth and enough weed to kill Snoop Dogg and around 20 guns. I was so scared. He gave me a tip of $20 cash and told me not to tell anyone. Number 6. Just simply coming up and there were 3 guys in underwear waiting for me. Handing the pizzas over and more just started coming out in underwear and these were also wearing cowboy hats and native headdresses, some kind of bro Halloween party or something. Got to grab my tip out of the dude's bra. It was funny as hell but when I left the building I had to process for a moment what the hell happened. Number 7. I once delivered a pizza late at night. The person who took the call told me that the person who ordered, let's call him Mark, was an old man and may take a while to get to the door. I get to the house and all the lights are off, no car in the driveway. I ring the doorbell, no answer. I knock on the door, no answer. I call the person's phone, no answer. Call again, still nothing. At this point I had waited for about 15 minutes for this person and was walking back to my car to leave, when I heard the front door open, so I went back. Again, there aren't any lights on so I can only see the head of a young woman peek from behind the door, and she refuses to open it all the way, even to take the pizza. I then hear another woman behind her saying who cares if he sees, open the door, so she opens it a little more to sign the receipt. She couldn't see so I offered to shine my phone's flashlight so she could sign the receipt. I then realized that both of these women are naked. Me being a good employee, I averted my eyes as she signed the receipt and started walking back to my car. As I was walking away, one of the women yelled to me, "Have a good night, you know Mark is." And I burst into laughter as I had totally forgotten that this was the house of an elderly man. Number 8. I delivered a pizza to a young girl who was home alone and when she opened the door her dog immediately ran away. I handed her the pizza, got in my car, found the dog and returned it. She left me no tip, so I was feeling kind of salty about it on the way back to the restaurant. A few hours later her mother called the store asking to speak to me. She thanked me and explained they had left tip money, but their daughter was so upset about the dog she forgot to give it to me. I worked at this pizza place for 2 more years through college, and they would get 2 large pepperoni pizzas and request me to deliver it every week after that. They always tipped me at least $25. Number 9. Back in college when I used to deliver pizzas. I used to deliver to the local county jail. An officer was taking someone to jail. The guy going to jail, still with his hands cuffed behind his back, got away from the officer and took off as I was walking in and ran into me. I'm pretty sure this guy was tripping on meth. The officer caught up to both of us on the ground, and were able to subdue him. I was covered with pizza sauce and the officers on shift took the pizza, paid, and each gave me $20. I told my manager, and we remade the order for the officers, and I re-delivered the order. The police were grateful and I was given another tip. 1 delivery and I made about $400. Number 10. I was delivering a pizza to a high-rise once on a Saturday night. Got in the elevator and there was a guy dressed like a pimp who tried to buy my pizza from me that I was about to deliver. He didn't even ask what kind or what size, he just pulled out a $100 bill and said, "I buy that for $100, and I politely turned him down, so he pulled out another $100 and offered me $200. I told him I could get fired. Man, that was hard to turn down. Here's where things get totally F up. When I get to the door of the guy I'm delivering it to, he opens the door and is dressed like a pimp also, like, huge colorful jacket, and he grabs the pizza and gives me a $100 bill and shuts the door. Pizza was about $35, so a $65 tip. Number 11. Delivered a pizza to the back door of a funeral home. 2 guys in their 20s answer the door, both wearing long black rubber aprons over their shirts and ties, and long black rubber gloves. The aprons were glistening with some fluid or other. Fortunately the guy paying took off his gloves before pulling out his wallet and paying. I was only 18 at the time, kinda freaked me out. To the point that today, 42 years later, I still remember it. Number 12. I was delivering to a trailer park and heard the St. Rains of Bad karaoke from the driveway. Went and knocked on the door, was greeted by a 50-something couple in their underwear who insisted I come in to set the food down and receive payment. The guy offered me a beer and asked me to stay and party. I told him I couldn't, my boss would be mad. He started doling out my tip in ones, with which he would beckon and retreat deeper into the trailer. His wife kept eyeing me and giggling. I ended it at $3 worth of tip and just left as stoically as I could, then broke down laughing maniacally in my car. Number 13. I was working at Domino's, and we received a call for 2 pepperoni pizzas, and when I showed up to the house there was an older-looking man and his dog on the roof. He didn't say anything about being on the roof. I raised my voice to tell him I was the pizza guy and he just looked at me and then he just jumped from the roof. It was only about 10 or 11 feet high, but it was kinda scary. He landed fine and gave me the money. I asked him about the dog and he said that there was always an open window so his dog can get on there and see the stars at night. I hope this man and his dog are doing good. Number 14. Showed up to a mansion in the rich part of suburbs. The house was completely dark, so I called the number, no answer. I get out and ring the doorbell 3 times, no answer. I start banging on the door and call again with no answer. All of a sudden the door flies open and a guy in his underwear and open bathrobe, breathing all heavy and sweating, reaches out, snags the pizza, just throws money at me and shuts the door. Another time I show up and the guy opens all excited with a big creepy smile on his face. Gestures me to come in and I say no. He won't do anything until I step inside. So I take a step in and he says to me, "Okay, so place the pizza on the floor right there," points to specific place, "place the Pepsi there," points to a coffee table, and "put my breadsticks there," points to the opposite side of where the pizza is. I just look at him and say okay. As soon as I do it he says, "Okay, your money is on the floor by the door. Have an amazing day. Thank you very much." So I walked out backwards, not taking my eyes off him, grabbed my money and left. Weird effing people out there, man. Number 15. Delivered pizza for 2 years. The strangest thing was a woman ordering right next door, €2 extra for delivery. When she opened the door she was almost naked, wearing only a bra, had huge fake breasts and lip fillers, platinum long hair. Your textbook bimbo. The order was €18 and was already paid online. I told her it was already paid. However, the lady took €20 out of her bra and handed it to me, winked and said keep the change. Needless to say, it made my day. Number 16. I live by a massive government facility, I won't name it but it is in the DC area. This delivery was done at about 10:30 at night. I was told to ask for a Tim when I arrived at the back gate of the facility. I stopped at the gate and two black SUVs approached me. A man exited the second car and came and asked me what name he told me to ask for. I said Tim and gave him his pizza and got back in my car. Tim got back in his car on the passenger side and I turned around at the gate and left. The second car proceeded to follow me back to the pizza shop and then sat across the street for 15 minutes and only left when I made a second delivery. That was my last delivery as a pizza guy. Number 17. I no longer do deliveries but one that has stayed with me was delivering to a house and this guy answers the door in a blood-covered apron and a handsaw. The smell of blood was so strong you could taste it. So as he went to get his money I pulled my phone and dialed 911 and put it back in my pocket. The transaction took about 9 or 10 minutes. As I got in my car I could see the first blue light so I pulled out calmly and then stopped to tell them I had called. Luckily there was no murder. It turns out he had hit a deer and just loaded it up in his truck and was butchering it and decided he wanted pizza. He ordered again and asked for me by name. He apologized for the misunderstanding and though he didn't tip me in money he offered me deer sausage. I declined for fear he was mad and was trying to poison me. Make sure to share your personal story in the comments below and have the opportunity to be featured in a future video. Also, if you like these topics don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button to continue seeing more content like this every day. See you next time.